Oh dear Capital Games, I have one thing I'd like to say. Fix your Ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and Droids, what do you get when you combine Paz Vizsla with Grand Admiral Thrawn and a little dash of Bad Batch in there? You get General Syndulla, and she actually worked! Welcome to our initial impressions. Can we really even call it that? As we're going to discuss today, a lot of issues with the General herself here, but our initial impression of General Syndulla, the final piece to the galactic legend Ahsoka Tano puzzle that we have before we unlock her, likely later on this month. Well, what can you do with General Syndulla? Well, you can watch her not work! All right, jokes aside, let's start this party off here. First and foremost, if you are going to be using General Syndulla, we're going to be talking primarily what you can do with her before you get Galactic Legend Ahsoka, and you probably want to make sure your mods are on point. So let's go show a quick modding graphic. How we're going to mod her, she's got a base speed of 179. When all is said and done, so a pretty good base speed to get her up and running, but man, she's got some good stuff to really let this team have explosive opening plays. Let's get down to business and talk more about the General. So I first want to say it's kind of embarrassing. I'm disappointed. Feels like some of the quality assurance in this game has gone down a little bit over the past while here, where unfortunately, although we're going to be talking about General Syndulla and basically showing her with 3 wheels instead of the 4th wheel, we're noticed pretty quickly that although she's got some cool stuff baked into her kit here, a lot of it's not working, and she could be even better if they would fix it. I don't know how CG did not notice this, but here's a short list of stuff that myself and the beautiful Kyber Club community found fairly quickly with Hera. First off, she has this AoE on I'm not just gonna sit around, where there's no like explosion sounds. All right, fine, no big deal, okay. But in terms of the actual performance of the kit, first off, the most important thing, the perfect defense that is baked into pulling rank, it's all over the place. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it's one character, sometimes it's everybody, like it should be. Big problem. Furthermore, the instant defeat that Ezra is supposed to give to the team does not interact well with Hera. And furthermore, backup plan not really working as well with General Syndulla. And then apparently some cleanses are not working. Some Kyber Club members saying it looks like the cleanses aren't working. Haven't been able to confirm that, but I can confirm just these 3 things alone aren't working. It's like, okay, I understand that it's kind of complicated being a video game developer. Sometimes there's a lot of stuff out there, and you know, you can give a little bit of pass. Oh, instead of 15% term, or someone got 14 or 12, 16%, or instead of 30% off, but maybe there was accidentally 35%. But like this stuff is like you can visually see before just with some little light amount of playing that something isn't right. Anyways, with all this said, the gameplay you're gonna be seeing today is with a lot of issues at hand, and it's gonna get better, so take this gameplay with preliminary grains of salt. Okay, all right, let's hop into the gameplay. So General Syndulla, what do I like about this character? Despite the bugs, again, we're gonna not try to bring it up too much in this video. First and foremost, she's got a fracture. It's great. I'm not just gonna sit around. Fantastic. And it's even better because her leadership ability, the New Republic General, makes her team blazing fast. We're up against most battles. Her team's the first to go. With her leadership, New Republic General, she's giving everyone on her team practically that are Spectre or Zeb 50% max health and max protection and 150 speed at the very beginning. And wowza, yeah, that's kind of a big deal right there. Most characters' base speed don't even reach 150. She just grants at the very start of the battle, so big opening play. And one thing that's also very helpful with this team, however, it turns out to be a problem. Further down the list, we see that she has a great capability where she gives the team basically a Paz Vizsla type of thing. Paz Vizsla has this final stand where he's about to die. He's like, all right, my final stand, we're going out in a blaze of glory. She brings something like that to the table as well, perhaps a little bit better than Paz Vizsla. First and foremost, anytime a Spectre ally is reduced to 30% health, they recover 50% health and protect, so it's kind of like a small mini savior. And then furthermore, the first time a Spectre ally or Zeb's health reaches 1%, they dispel all debuffs on themselves, gain damage duty for 1 turn, take a bonus turn, gain 100% offense, And then if they defeat an enemy on this bonus turn, they recover 50% health protection. They keep going. Otherwise, that ally is defeated. Pretty sweet, right? Well, unfortunately, it doesn't interact well with insta-kills and Ezra Bridger's anti-insta-kill that he has baked into his kit. The other thing that's really nice about this, as I said, the Fracture is great, but she's also got a little bit of Old Ben. I know I said the intro, she's like Paz, mix of Bad Batch with a little bit of Thrawn. She's also kind of like an Old Ben, where she can pull 50% Terminator. That's a good amount, and that's why with the mods, having some potency sets on is going to be important to make sure you're pulling back that Terminator, for example. It's kind of oddly worded how her Fracture is listed. It says dispel Fracture from all enemies and then inflict target enemy with Fracture until each other enemy has taken one turn or they are defeated. I'm guessing the reason why it's worded like that, so in case the Spectre team with Hera ran some sort of Terminator train, she doesn't fracture everyone. It's only one fracture at a time, but nonetheless, the last thing that made Thrawn special, no longer the case. Hera, which I think does a better job at Fracture because she is so much faster than Thrawn, she can get a way faster opening play with the Fracture. This is going to be important. I know we're going to focus primarily today, after I'm done kind of highlighting things I like about Hera, we're primarily focusing on today what she does with her Spectre crew. I should say, not Phoenix. No, there's a difference apparently. What she's likely going to be a fifth member, fourth member, whatever you want to count it, or Galactic Legend Ahsoka. And furthermore, she is more or less the light side Galactic. We're not there yet. No Galactic Legend Thrawn. I'm kind of jumping the gun. But she's like the light side version of Thrawn, where she might be nice in a raid lineup. I'm assuming she's going to be great in a Galactic Legend Ahsoka lineup. So she's got a lot of stuff here. And furthermore, she can give the ally tank taunts and give them protection. And, you know, it seems like Galactic Legend Ahsoka is supposed to be a tank, apparently. That's going to be very helpful. So even though right now you can use her in a leadership capacity, there's going to be a lot more when we look at Galactic Legend Ahsoka. And one more other thing I want to point out, I really like her basic. Being able to call another random Spectre ally to assist and have a basic buff the spell is very, very nice. The buff the spell, very cool. And being able to call Hu Yang to assist was okay. And you know what? One other thing. Let's talk about this unique ability here. What we have right here is a way to get some nice extra defense penetration on Exile or Perfect Defense. And we're going to talk about that Perfect Defense in a moment. We are missing out on so many layers of the Perfect Defense. But anyways, whenever a Spectre ally Perfect Defense uses this special ability, they are supposed to deal true damage to all enemies, which can't be evaded. This is the Bad Batch element that, unfortunately, we're not really able to witness appropriately. And luckily, CG acknowledged that there's a potential bug. I think there's more than one potential bug, but they acknowledge that there seems to be something off with this here. Also, the other thing that's kind of important too, whenever we have Perfect Defense and expires, we're able to get attackers critical damage up. Tanks are going to get 50% protection. Support leaders are going to be able to get speed up on them as well. Then whenever an enemy unit has their Terminator manipulated, a random Spectre ally gains defense up and tenacity up. So now let's transition into the biggest bug of them all, and that is pulling Rey. Now in the Marquee event, it seemed to work fine, but outside in the wilderness, it is all over the place. I really can't pinpoint what the exact thing is because it doesn't seem to be consistent with when it's working and when it's not working as well. It has a cleanse in it. You dispel all defense on a target Spectre ally, and then they're going to get defense up and tenacity up for 2 turns. And then the target ally is supposed to get 10 offense and 10 speed, so this is really helpful to target, for example, Ahsoka Fulcrum. We're going to talk about the ideal team for the Spectre unit. Oh boy, Ahsoka Fulcrum. She's already been bang-a-langing out there with the Seer Junda and Malicos lineup, as well as the Rey lineups out there with the Interrators of Cal Kestis' Omicron, and she's got a great Omicron herself. But what we have here is this problem. Spectre allies who have defense up and tenacity up, dispel them and gain perfect defense for 2 turns. And why is perfect defense important? Well, it's 200% defense, so it's way more than defense up, and basically a baked-in way to prevent detrimental effects with the tenacity up element, so it's better than tenacity up. And here's the problem. It's not applying most times, and sometimes when it is applying, it's only one and not everyone, and sometimes it works and everyone's supposed to get it. But the reason why it's important, yes, you're going to get that 200% defense and you're going to be able to resist detrimental effects, but furthermore, the problem is, first and foremost, we are not able to get the 40% defense penetration. That's a lot of extra damage that's laying on the table that we're missing out on. When you have Exile Perfect Defense, you get 40% defense penetration. The biggest thing is being able to have the Bad Batch-like element, where when Bad Batch have defense up, they deal bonus true damage. We have that too, but it only works if you have perfect defense. but it doesn't work perfectly. And then the other thing is we are not getting the additional effects with the critical damage up, the offense up, protects up. We're not getting that as well. So unfortunately, that's a lot of problems. So it's supposed to, as it reads, anyone who has defense up, you have to have both. You have to have both tenacity up and you have to have defense up in order for this to trigger. But everybody should be able to get it. All Spectre allies, it's plural. So if you had 4 Spectre allies that had defense up, tenacity up, they're supposed to get the perfect defense, and off to the races you go. It's not working that way. It isn't. So that's one of the biggest problems that we have. And the other issue that we're having is specifically Ezra Bridger. As you guys may know, Ezra Bridger Exile, big fan of him. I think a lot of us are a big fan of the guy. He has anti-insta-kill for Spectres, which is fantastic, right? Well, not so much with General Syndulla. The issue that we're having here with our ability to have us being able to not get insta-kill, one of the biggest things that we're seeing, which one is it? It's on the, no, that's the cooldown manipulation. Somewhere in these long kits, they have anti-insta-kill. Which one is it? You get exile, okay, and then let's see, the can't assist. There we go, it's on exile. Here's the problem. We had a battle up against Master Kenobi where Ezra Bridger was supposed to be insta-killed by Commander Tano. Well, he didn't die right away, but for whatever reason, the games thought that he should have died. So then Hera's lead triggers and says, all right, Ezra, take your bonus turn. Try to kill someone. And Ezra's like, what? We just started the battle here. And then Ezra can't kill anyone during this bonus turn. And then he loses the will to live and he dies. And that's it. That's not supposed to be how it works. And furthermore, in that same clip, we would see that, well, he had backup plan and he's not even reviving with the backup plan. So it's a 2-for-1 bug special here where Hera's lead doesn't really understand how Ezra's anti-insta-kill interacts with insta-kill characters out there. So we kind of have ourselves a problem. We're not able to fully appreciate it. So, all right, with all that said, with all those bugs laid out, what are we looking at right now with General Syndulla? Right now with General Syndulla, this is the biggest problem. It really seems like, again, well, first and foremost, let me reiterate, he's got a lot of bugs. If perfect defense isn't working, we're missing out on a lot of damage. With the true damage, the 40% defense penetration, and the other great effects you're supposed to be getting from perfect defense. We're seeing that it feels like in order to get something really special out of this team, you need to have Ezra Bridger Exile, which right now about 18,000 people have it. So likely, if you're watching this video, more of you guys will likely not have her up and running, have Ezra up and running to make Hera really shine to her fullest extent here. But that's not to say we can't do anything without Ezra. I think the coolest thing we did without Ezra Bridger Exile is probably gonna be something like this. Now, there's not too many Spectre members. You basically have Chopper, and they gave Garazeb not the Spectre tag, but he's kind of an honorary Spectre member. I didn't really feel anything amazing, momentous with Chopper and Zeb being on the team here. Now, it's nice that they at least could be somewhere, especially Zeb. He's a tank. He just doesn't taunt long enough, in my opinion, to really feel like he's making an impactful difference on the match. And Chopper really didn't feel all that helpful. I think that's fine. I think they maybe gave him the Spectre tag just so it's lore accurate. It'd be kind of weird if there was no Spectre tag, so he could work with Hera if he wanted to. But Chopper's kind of a staple to the Phoenix lineup with Captain Rex, being able to constantly get that basic ability to call people to assist. So, you know, it depends what you have up and running. But man, if you can rock Hera, Ezra, Ahsoka Fulcrum, Hu Yang, and Padawan Sabine, that feels to be the very best lineup right now. But again, Ezra Bridger, he's kind of a very lucrative free agent. You can use him in a raid lineup, which he's killer at. Jedi Master Luke, Jedi Knight Luke, and a couple of other fun things. I had a lot of fun with him in Conquest doing some random stuff. He's a great plug-and-play character. We don't get too many of those. A lot of characters are cookie cutter, must be here only. Ezra, I'm liking him in a variety of different lineups outside in the wilderness of Galaxy of Heroes. But the problem is, well, without Ezra, and again, it could be because of the bugs, I'm not finding Hera doing too much. Without Ezra, we're maybe beating a Zori lineup, which is great. Being able to start off with a ton of speed, 150 speed, is great on the team. We're able to outrun most lineups, and it gets even better. When you have Ezra Bridger Exile, things get really interesting. We're able to beat quite a few interesting things. You know, for example, Gungans, able to take them down incredibly quickly, being able to get Hera out there fast, throw on the Fracture on the Phalanx, blitz down the Generator. It's game over at that point, people. But oddly enough, one of the coolest things I think that we did day one already, with the bugs in mind, taking down Galactic Legend Ray. Luckily, most people don't run the fast rates, mostly heavy offense type of rays out there. you're able to get Ezra Bridger out there fast enough. Likely, if you have the mods appropriated on him correctly, you can get Ezra out there fast and then call it Hera for the assist, quickly get the stagger on the Rey, pull back Rey's turn meter, and then have Hera pull back turn meter. Again, it's a crazy AoE chance. He's got AoE that does true damage, pulls back turn meter, and locks in a fracture. That's a lot of stuff baked into one ability there. So you're able to fracture Finn off to the race, and then the team with Ezra Bridger Exile is incredibly durable with the massive heals that they're getting out there. So that was kind of the biggest thing. We're seeing that this team could maybe go toe-to-toe with some Galactic Legends and other top teams out there. But again, the biggest problem is if the kit's not working, what else are we missing out on? How much easier could this battle have been? And that's the biggest issue outside of our Ezra Bridger testing. We tried some battles without Ezra Bridger. The biggest problem is, well, if we're missing on all this stuff, it's kind of a problem. It really is. And I guess the biggest MVP, it feels like it's almost a must. And who knows, this could change if they finally fix perfect defense to give me my bonus true damage when people are using their special abilities. Ahsoka Fulcrum is truly the MVP. And this I'm a little torn on. Like Chopper's kind of a staple for the Phoenix lineup. Now, Ahsoka Fulcrum is a little more interesting because, yes, she's great with Seer Junda and Malicos inside a Grand Arena, even territories. And yes, she's amazing in territories with her Omicron as a standalone, or she can be used of Cal Kestis, and she's often on a Rey lineup, for example, as well, and Seer Jundas, of course. But I think the thing I'm thinking of, does Seer Junda really need Ahsoka Fulcrum? Yeah, it's nice having the extra big damage, but usually Malicos and Seer Junda, they got it handled. But yes, Ahsoka doesn't hurt. It might be okay to take Ahsoka Fulcrum and put it on this team. And man, even with all the bugs in mind, she hits hard. Up against Darth Malgus, for example, you can turn one delete Revan, or you can turn one delete the Bastila. And this is important because if you're able to get these quick, explosive plays with 150 freaking speed, you oftentimes can turn one insta-kill someone. That's kind of a big deal. So I'm really liking Ahsoka Fulcrum being at the focal point of being able to do some crazy plays out there. It feels like it's sort of a must if you're trying to run the Spectre team with General Syndulla before you get yourself a hold of Ahsoka Fulcrum. Galactic Legends. There's too many freaking Ahsokas and Lukes in this guy. I'm losing track, people. I'm losing track. Last thing I want to talk about here before we get out of here, there's a few other things that we don't have. First and foremost, obviously there's going to be Omicrons, and I'm assuming there's going to be some Datacron stuff later on. Now, in terms of Zetas, I think the most important Zeta right now is probably going to be this right here. It gives you a fracture. I'm not just going to sit around. It's probably the Zeta that you want to have, and it works. That's the most important. It seems to work. The other Zeta seems like it should be important, and it's a unique ability, which is great. This means you can use her, for example, in a Galactic Legend Ahsoka lineup, or we had some pretty good success using her in a Rey lineup. But the problem is here, the Zeta gives the perfect defense, giving you bonus true damage to all enemies. The Bad Batch element. If it's not working consistently, it's kind of hard to really appreciate it. But the other thing I want to bring out here, there are a lot of Omicrons that the Spectre has that we aren't able to appreciate yet. Here's a General Syndulla. I apologize. She's got a territory Omicron if you care about that stuff, and it's a unique ability. So you can safely assume this will probably be very helpful, not just for the Spectre General Syndulla elite stuff, but for Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano. That's a lot of words throwing on into already robust kits that we have. I guess we can also say, if you are going to be using Ezra Bridger Exile with Hera in the Grand Arena, he's got Grand Arena Omicrons and Purgo Migration. It goes fast, and he's able to exile incredibly quickly, way more so than this petty gameplay of us in Squad Arena. Other things, of course, Ahsoka Fulcrum. She's got an Omicron. It is a banger. She is a way better version of Wampa inside of territories, and Cal Kestis turns this on so she can work in a full team of 5 as well. And heyo, we also have some other stuff out there, such as, well, we're going to be getting ourselves a hold of Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano in the next few weeks, likely. And then we have an Omicron on Sentinel with all 4 Padawan Sabine, which she's getting better. Still not in love with her. She's getting better. Her damage is starting to be a little bit better with this, but I think it's going to take full effect later on. But once you get inside of Territory Wars and you have Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano in the lead, this is going to be yet another bunch of stuff that you're going to have. First and foremost, I think the biggest thing is whenever Spectre Ally loses Exile, they gain 300% offense. Can I say that again? 300% offense. One more time in case you missed it. 300% offense. So overall, here's what I think I can say. we weren't able to test out the full power of General Syndulla. Hopefully they fix it sooner rather than later, because imagine if they're going to release the Galactic Legend of Ahsoka event, and one of the most important tips is, hey, make sure you have perfect defense. If the perfect defense isn't working, that's going to be a pain. So I'm hoping they fix that soon enough. But even so, even though we're trying to ride this car with only 3 wheels instead of 4, we're still seeing a lot of good stuff. From just a support standpoint, not even the leadership and all the other perfect defense shenanigans. I kind of like her. Is she the best character this year? No, but who knows? When those bugs get addressed, this could be a much different team. The way I put it in my live stream, what would the Bad Batch look like if they couldn't do the bonus damage based off defense up? Well, they might be okay still, but the defense up is what really transforms it. This could very well be the new generation of Bad Batch. But if they're not doing it, well, it's kind of difficult. So CG, fix your game! And that's going to wrap it up for today, ladies and gentlemen. Gungans, droids, Kiadi, Moody, Conants, and all of you buggy Twi'leks that exist out there. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Looking forward to seeing, hopefully, a more appropriate and a fixed General Syndulla, but more importantly as well, what's this going to look like with Galactic Legend of Ahsoka Tano? Leave that like, comment down below, subscribe, so you're not missing a thing. And the most important thing is always remember, it's great to be in the Empire today. Oh, it's great to be in the Empire today. The sun never sets.